Hey, we got an update on the 230, lt230 project. I haven't really been doing much. I mean, it's like, oh, look at that. It was like 6 inches of snow. But it's like either been, like, it gets a little warm, but you got a bunch of snow, or it's like below 20 degrees out. So I haven't really done a whole lot, but I did order these sprockets. Got 2 of them. They're cheap sprockets, but they're bought in cheap on purpose because I couldn't find anything smaller with this bolt pattern. And if you go buy like a machine sprocket or something, it's going to be so hard that it'd just be hard to machine it. And so basically, these ones here are cheaper, but we'll be able to drill out a new bolt pattern on in between these ones, and then also the inside needs bored out a little bit. I probably won't do that. It's like mill work, and it's got to be pretty much perfect, or your chain's gonna be loose and tight, loose and tight, loose and tight, and it just wouldn't work right. These are 530 sprockets. So this motor has a 530 sprocket on the front, so I can put a 50 chain on or a 530 chain, and both front and back's going to match. Now the reason that I'm going so much smaller is, I mentioned before, like, this engine's really low geared, and also with the tires that I'm going to put on the back of it, the gear ratio to the ground is going to be even lower. So pretty much just little sprockets just to bring the gearing back up quite a bit, and then also it'll be kind of cool because it'll give me ground clearance with the smaller tires on. Front shocks. I have a set of, well, this is the stock shock that came on the bike. I got a set of reservoir shocks, the ones I was talking about before. I bought them before. They're pretty decent. But the problem with them is I kind of sampled it on the bike with the bottom arm off because they're too long. So I couldn't, there's no way I could bolt them up. But, if I was to buy a set that was the right length, it was going to run in, the reservoir would run into this. So the only type of shock I can get is ones like the one that was on it. And it is hard to find some kind of a decent shock that's this length. So, like, what I came up with, see if you can see, get out here in the light. I painted it up. It's really shiny on top, but I cleaned it up really good on top and bottom. Repainted the hardware and that. And I actually see better in here. I'm just going to get shock covers and put on, and you won't see the ugliness of the spring. I think this is kind of the point of them, is cover up some crappy looking shocks that still work good. But I'm going to say these work good, but I think they work as they should. And shocks this length usually don't work the best anyway. But when it's all done, they'll look good, and whatever with that. The ball joints. I have one of the new ball joints in. It doesn't have the little grommets that goes on each end on it, but it's just stuck in there. And pretty much it's pretty close. It needs to come down a little bit, but it's pretty close to where it needs to be. But the problem with it is the length. The length of this threaded area. After I would put the little washer thingies in there, I would only have enough to tighten up the nut till it was like at the face of it. So I would only be, which you're using up the whole nut, so I mean, it's kind of technically there, but to make things a little easier, I did have to drill out. Well, this one here's a factory washer, I had to drill out the hole bigger, and then I did kind of make it a little thinner, and then I made one as well, exactly the same. And then pretty much the way it's going to work, well, my first thought was I was going to put one on each side and then the nut. But to gain more use of the nut in the shaft, I took one of the nuts and turned down a shoulder on it that's identical to the shoulder that would be on one of them washers. This gains me the thickness of one of these, which is probably 1/4 inch or more. I mean, it's probably well over 1/4 inch thicker, 3/8 of an inch. You know, more use of the threads, and then it also gains me, you know, some amount of adjustment. So I think I'm, you know, pretty much done working with adjusting this out, and I, you know, know what I need, so I can take it apart, start cleaning up and painting stuff for this front end. The only other thing I'd have to like fab up is like some tie rods. The position of this one is like higher or lower, I can't remember, than what the original was. So if anything, you know, I'll try to bolt it up the way it is, and if it's going to like have clearance problems with anything, I might have to make like a tie rod that the shaft actually, you know, drops down or something to get to the right position. But I'm sure once I start working with putting it back together, then I would work on that and show some video of that. I did get another trade on Craigslist for the 300ex project thing I'm doing. I had some Mudlight tires on rims. The rims wasn't the best. I mean, it's kind of scratched up. They wasn't, you know, bent or nothing, but I had them posted on there for sale for $100 and mentioned trade for 300ex components. And a guy called me up and wanted to know if I'd trade an HMF muffler. I'm not really too fond of how loud some of this stuff is, but I can make like a little insert to put at the end of it that would like reduce down the size of the hole, and you still get like a deep sound out of it, but not, you know, cackling 100 acres worth of, you know, area sound wise. But I do like the deep sound, but I usually, when I make my own even, I make a smaller hole in the end. I'm kind of interested. It was finally interesting to see that like this pipe right here is actually like 300 series stainless. A magnet doesn't stick to it. Found that kind of neat. But you can tell it's got some use on it. But the guy said he didn't have it on very loud because it was just too loud for his area. I thought that was a cool trade. That's like, these things are like $300 almost. That's pretty much about it on this. I mean, I gotta measure this bolt pattern out on the old one and that, and then probably like get a guy at work some lunch or something for doing it. Something of that nature. But that's probably that's about it for now. Oh, I got something else to show you. Made some rear wheel spacers. I figure if I'm gonna go, you know, lower and wider on this thing, kind of give it the, you know, I don't know, race kind of look of maybe a flat track kind of a look or something. I'm widening out the front a little bit, so with the hubs I got on and with these, it'll pretty much widen it out, you know, the equivalent on the back. They're just made out of aluminum. So, well, thanks for watching.